Welcome to our hybrid meeting. Participants in the room, please do not join the meeting on Zoom. Virtual participants, if you lose connection at any point during the meeting, you can reconnect by clicking the link or calling the number in your original email. Members attending virtually, if you are able, please activate your video for purposes of quorum and keep it on for the duration of the meeting. Staff, if you are able, please activate your video when you are speaking. Members of the committee, when you wish to speak, ask questions, or request a roll call vote, please push the person button on your microphone or raise your hand virtually. Those in the room will have their microphone turned on when they are recognized to speak. Those attending virtually can unmute themselves when recognized. When you are finished, all should mute themselves. Members of the public who have registered to speak, those appearing virtually, the name you entered in Zoom must match the name you entered in registration. You will remain muted until called upon. If you are here in person, when you are called to speak, approach one of the two podiums on either side of the dais and you will be recognized. For all registrants, the clerk will tell you when your time is up. After all public speakers, a member of the body may ask you a question. If you need to share documentation with the committee, please send it to the email listed on today's agenda. Thanks. Chair, the floor is yours.
Okay, so as always, this meeting is governed by Robert's rules. You'll need to be recognized by the chair before speaking. And if you're applicants for new licenses, I'll ask you some preliminary questions, and then you'll have 3 minutes to discuss your proposal, and then members of the committee can ask questions. And then we'll move on to the next registrant. Next on our agenda is roll call.
Alder Glenn?
Present.
Alder Glenn is here. Alder Revere? Mr. Bruchuk?
Here.
Mr. Bruchuk is here. Mr. Farley?
Present.
Farley is here. Ms. Westra?
Here.
Ms. Westra is here. Alder Figueroa Cole?
Here.
Alder Figueroa Cole is here. And I have on my list. Chair, we do have quorum. Oh, it looks, hold on. Looks like
Sherry Carter
Sherry
is.
Carter is. Yes, and Miss Carter.
Present.
Ms. Carter is here. Okay. Chair, we do have quorum.
All right, next on the agenda is approval of the minutes. There are minutes from May 28th, June 18th, and June 25th. We can take all of those up at the same time. Is there any corrections to the minutes or a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Alder Glenn. Is there a second? Okay, Bruchuk seconds. Any objection? Then the minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone registered for general public comment?
Let me refresh, double check. And just for clarification, there was approval of all 3 of those minutes?
That's correct.
Okay, cool. Let's double check. Hold on. We do not have anyone for general public comment.
All right, next on the agenda is disclosures and recusals. Are there any disclosures or recusals? Seeing none. Next is the presentation of the consent agenda. Mr. Verbeek.
Sure. Give me a second. Let me just bring it up. So I'll read through it very quick. I'll just mention the item number and the category of the items that are on the consent agenda. And then once the committee passes it, then I'll read it in full. So the proposed consent agenda for ALRC meeting July 16th, 2025 Recommend council to grant operator license application, item 2, and that is a recommendation from the operator subcommittee to approve. Temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit, items 3, 4, and 5. Change of agent, items 6 and 7. Business name change, item 8. Entity reorganization, items 9, 13, and 14. And request to extend license issuance beyond the 180-day limit under MGO 38.05, item 31. And if the committee is open to it, I would recommend possibly if we could add item 32 as a referral to the next meeting of the ALRC. Both the applicant and the alder have spoke, and they both wish to have the item referred to next month's meeting. Otherwise, if we don't wish to add it, we can always wait till the end of the night and do that as well.
I'm okay to add it. Do you need a vote for that?
Yes.
Okay, so you want me to make a motion to add item 32 to the consent agenda?
Yeah, and then I think also with the recommendation that we refer it to the next meeting.
Yeah. So I move to refer item 32 to the next agenda based on the feedback of the elder and the applicant.
Okay,
Second.
seconded by Alder Glenn. Ms. Carter?
Then we would have to also, in addition, approve the consent agenda. It could have been done in one motion.
So that's correct. We are now, item 32 is now on the consent agenda with the recommendation that it be referred until next meeting. Are there any more changes to the consent agenda? Does anyone want anything pulled? Okay, seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with the recommendations listed.
Move approval.
Moved
Second.
by Ms. Westra, seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. Any objection? Seeing none, the consent agenda is approved. Mr. Verbeek, will you review that for us?
Sure. Okay. So the approved consent agenda for meeting July 16, 2025. I recommend the council to grant item 2, operator license application for Tony Meyer. And this is a recommendation from the operator subcommittee to approve. Item 3, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit for Shanks Corners Art Society. The event is Shanks Corners Block Party. Item 4, temporary Class B retailer license concurrent with street use permit for the Madison Home Brewers and Tasters Guild. The event is Great Taste of the Midwest. Item 5, temporary Class B retail license concurrent with street use permit for Jazz at 5 Inc. The event is Jazz at 5 Summer Series. 6, change of agent, Quick Trip Inc. 7, change of agent, Madison Axe LLC. Item 8, business name change, Mishqui Peruvian Cuisine LLC, 4601 Monona Drive, New DBA, Mishqui Peruvian Bistro. Number 9, entity reorganization for Triple Shift Entertainment LLC. Number 13, entity reorganization for Vintage 2 Inc. at 803 East Washington Avenue. And 14, entity reorganization for Vintage 2 Inc. at 674 Whitney Way. Item 31, request to extend license issuance beyond the 180-day limit under MGO 38.05 for Wisco Cheese and Cheers. And lastly, recommend to refer to the next meeting of the ALRC. Item 32, municipal approval of full-service retail alcohol sales for State Line Distillery LLC.
Thank you. Now, if you heard your name or your business, we won't have any questions for you tonight. All the recommendations get forwarded to the August 5th Common Council meeting. Next on our agenda, but you're welcome to stay if you'd like. Next on the agenda is item 10, entity reorganization for Madison Axe. Now, Mr. Verbeek, if you could explain briefly why this didn't make the consent agenda?
Sure. Yep. The reason this was not on the consent agenda is because this is an owner change of greater than 50%. The person remaining on there is an existing owner, but all the other owners have been removed from the business. And Brandon is registered to speak, and he is in Zoom.
Okay, Brandon.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear
Yep, you can. You have time now to discuss your request with the committee.
All right. So realistically, there were four owners originally, and two of us, myself and my wife, Catherine Long, decided to buy out the other owners who held 60% of the LLC. That happened on May 23rd. And now myself and my wife have 100% of the LLC. We've been in it since the beginning. So yeah, nothing changes as it pertains to how Madison Axe is run or anything like that. We just had an opportunity to purchase where our other business partners wanted to put the business up for sale, and we did not want to. So we ended up purchasing it from them, and are going to continue the success that we have had.
Thank you. Questions from the committee, Ms. Farley?
Given that it sounds like there's no changes to the business here, I'd like to move to grant.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to grant by Ms. Farley, seconded by Ms. Westra. Any discussion? Are there any other registrants?
There are not.
Okay, so there's no other registrants. Any discussion on the motion? Any objection to the motion? Seeing none, the motion is carries. Ms. Carter. Okay. Next on the agenda, item 11, University Avenue Liquor.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
The applicant for 11 and 12, it's sort of the same situation.
Okay.
The applicant said he would not be able to make it until 7 o'clock. So if the committee just wanted to skip to the next one.
All right. Without objection, we'll skip to the next item and return to these later.
I think that would take us to 15, and we do have a staff person from the council office. Karen is in attendance in Zoom and is willing to give a presentation for the committee.
Okay. And then Ms. Farley, did you have anything?
But I was just gonna ask Jim about item 11, if they confirmed they weren't planning on making any business changes, because if so, I'd be comfortable making a motion on that without them here.
I don't know if we've had a specific conversation, which I asked them that question. I think they may have submitted stuff with the materials in the packet to talk about it, but I have not compared it to their previous business plan to know whether or not there was a change.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next, we'll go to item 15. Karen?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Karen Kapusta-Pofall. I'm the Common Council Chief of Staff, and you have a referral before you from the council. I will give you a brief presentation, I promise to keep it brief, and ask for some feedback in addition to a recommendation to pass back to council. So what you have in the attachments to this item are the code of conduct, the elected and appointed official code of ethical conduct that's in effect now. You have a document that has the proposed changes. I will also be, and you have a copy of this presentation as well. So I'm going to share my screen, but one more thing before I start. Our office is going to be compiling any feedback that you provide during this meeting for the Alder's consideration. And you can also please feel free to reach out to me, email me, contact me to provide individual feedback as well. So with all that being said, I'll see if I can get this to work. Okay. All right. Looks like it is working. So this is me. And I also want to tell you, I'm going to try not to read everything on the slides with the understanding that you certainly can ask me to go back to something or ask me to clarify something, but for the sake of everyone's time. And so quick overview on the existing policy. There is a policy in effect. It was first adopted by the council in January of 2023. The sexual harassment appendix to the code was adopted by council in July of 2024. It provides general expectations and guidelines for the behavior of elected and appointed officials, including members of city boards, committees, and commissions. And just as a quick reminder to folks, BCCs are required by resolution to put the code on their agenda annually for discussion. And as an FYI, though, I'm sure you're very well familiar, sometimes it's asked about the difference between things, and city staff are governed by APMs, which are Administrative Procedure Memoranda. And that's why this code exists, to cover the folks who are not completely covered by all the APMs that we have. It provides expectations for general conduct. It prohibits bullying, harassment, sexual harassment, discrimination, encourages informal conflict resolution when appropriate and available, describes the process for reporting and investigating sexual harassment complaints, and it outlines possible sanctions for violation. So the council referred these proposed changes to the existing code to a number of committees, including the ALRC. So that's why I'm with you here tonight. So I'm going to go over some major changes. And again, it's all available to you to go over in more detail if you'd like, and the attachments. There is additional general expected conduct language, talking more about the values, about reminding folks about that the people choosing to serve in public office have the obligation to protect the well-being of the community, and so on. There is a new section, a proposed section about conduct towards city staff. One of these provisions is that council and BCC members should refer to staff by their title or formal salutation, followed by the individual's last name in public meetings when first introduced. This is something that at council they do try to do. I staff the Common Council Executive Committee, and we also strive for this. And it discusses what to do about performance concerns and so on. There's a proposed section about conduct towards members of the public, reminding folks that it can be quite intimidating for members of the public to come to provide testimony to public meetings, and that we members of BCCs and other elected and appointed officials need to remember that and think about that when they're addressing the public. There's a section proposed that clarifies a little bit more about conduct toward the media, clarifying things like when you're speaking for yourself versus when you're speaking as a member of the committee. And until a vote on an issue is taken, council and also BCC members' positions are their own rather than the body's. And there's expanded information about how to use point of order to address issues that are happening in a committee meeting. So, of course, as everyone knows, point of order is a standard aspect of Robert's Rules that's available to use during the course of any meeting. These changes would provide more guidance on how to use point of order in the case where a member finds something that they would like to draw attention to in terms of a potential problem. There is more detail on conflict resolution and what to do if you would like to address an issue. And then this is quite, I think, quite a big piece of the proposed, quite a big piece of the proposed updates, and it does mostly affect the council and CCEC, but important to flag here, gives a detailed set of instructions for how to censure an alder. Currently, any alder can introduce a censure resolution and it passes by a simple majority. This provides for more of what is like a hearing process at CCEC and provides that there be a minimum of 2 alder sponsors for any censure resolution. And then I have some discussion questions. Certainly you can ask any questions you want or say anything you want, but just if you have any food for thought, we'd also like to hear about your experiences as a BCC member, if there are common conduct related challenges that you have experienced that you'd like the council to take into account. Anything you think that should be in the policy that isn't, especially related to your experience as a BCC member, and of course, any other questions or comments about the existing policy as well as the proposals. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any questions on the presentation? The only question I have, I'll let Ms. Carter go first.
Thank you. Aaron, what I don't see, and I'm looking at the, I appreciate the PowerPoint. I'm also looking at the attachment. And what I don't see is anything that reference a derogatory statement regarding culture. I'll give you an example. I don't know where you would put it, but this is just food for thought. In a council meeting, an alder said, "You people are always crying about something." And we all know, based on who that was directed to, what "you people" mean. And to me, that's a derogatory statement. I appreciate everything you have in here, but I think that needs to be put in here along with everything else, specifically. That is my only comment. I think you've covered a lot in here. I do question the governing authority of CCEC versus going to either the Civil Rights Office for Mediation or the Ethics Commission. Food for thought. I'm not asking for an answer. But I do think those are the things that needs to be in there. And then also I would say that I appreciate your area where you talked about the media, but it also needs to be noted that when talking to the media regarding residents, there needs to be some respect there too. I've heard some name calling of specific constituents, not mine, knock on wood, but I've heard name calling on specific constituents to the media. Thank you for your efforts, Karen. You did a great.
Thank you very much.
So my question is about this. Council and BCC members should refer to staff by their title or formal salutation, followed by the individual's last name in public meetings when first introduced. And I fear I violated that already today when I called you Karen. But the reason I do that with you and other applicants who come before this committee is because I frequently don't know how to pronounce people's last names, or I don't know what their salutation should be because I don't want to make assumptions about gender identity, for example. So is there any recommendation related to that?
So that's a great question, and I know that that tends to have, as I've brought this presentation around to the different committees, that's one thing that folks have asked about. I think that the best thing to do is to have your committee staff help you with that. This is specifically related to staff who come before you, so they should be able to reach out to those relevant staff to make sure that they know their title and how to pronounce their last name, and then let you know that information, or provide that information to the group. And then after that, you're free to use first names. So that's something to clarify, because I know that some folks have been a bit concerned that this would just constrain everyone to only using Chief of Staff Kapusta Pofall, blah, 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 instead of being able to eventually say Karen, and and the way I understand these proposed changes is that you show the title the first time, and then after that you have you can certainly use first names. I think the rationale behind this is to identify and sort of recognize that staff are there in a professional capacity within an organizational structure. So this just provides folks with a bit of a reminder of that, which might help when they're providing the professional evaluation of a situation, for example, that sort of thing. And also, so the public, I realize the public don't always know who we are. And so sometimes it's nice for the public to know who these people are who are providing you with information as well. So I hope that helps.
It does. Thank you. Ms. Farley?
My question was just answered. Thank you.
All right. Any further questions? Any further questions? Seeing none. Thank you, Chief of Staff Kapusta Pofall, for joining us today and for your presentation.
Thank you all very much. And I do believe, I know I'm certainly not staff to this committee, but yeah, I think the council, if the committee's desire is to make a recommendation one way or the other, I think, I know that it's been a little confusing. Some folks have had it on for discussion.
Okay. So our agenda does say adopting. So I believe it would be in order to recommend adoption if that motion is made, seconded, and carried. I'm also, okay, Ms. Farley.
I would agree with the recommendation of Ms. Carter made earlier. How is that feedback taken in?
May I?
You can respond.
Okay, so that you have different options here. One possibility is you can make a motion that is basically a recommend to do X, Y, and Z with the following conditions, so and so and such. Additionally, just so you're aware, our legislative analyst is compiling all the feedback that we're receiving, and because coming on the 5th, I believe this is going to be re-referred to September 16th. So there will be some time. We want to be able to get through all the committees and then provide the feedback to the council so that the alders can consider if they like to make any kind of modifications to any of it. And so you have different options here as to what you'd like, how you'd like to proceed. So it's kind of open.
Ms. Farley.
In that case, I'd like to make a motion. I don't know if to approve or to agree is the right call here. With the additional conditions, for if there can be terminology around individuals' culture And then also additional clarification for when an individual is speaking with members of the media.
All right.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Farley, seconded by Ms. Carter. Jim, did you catch the motion?
I did. It was a recommend to the lead committee, return to lead committee with the recommendation to approve, but request to add terminology regarding culture and speaking to members of the media. I don't know if I
That's correct.
fully
I
grasp.
don't know, Ms. Carter, if you want to help me like clarify or make that part more detailed.
Well, I think culture is the more politically correct terminology for this. I think that it needs to, and I think you've done a great job, actually, but that in the media is very important.
I think with our, and members of the committee are free to disagree, but I think with the fact that our discussion is being noted, and also I think that plus what we have in the motion language right now will be enough to make our intent clear should this motion pass.
I'm happy with that.
Further points of discussion? Is there any objection to the motion to adopt with the Alder Figueroa Cole?
Yeah, I will be abstaining from this vote. I do have a lot of feedback on this, but I will reserve that for the council time. So I don't want my vote on this to reflect that I am in support of all the changes that are being proposed.
Okay,
And I'm not talking about the changes discussed here, just as a general, like I already have my thoughts on this, and I would like to discuss this on council later. Thank you.
Okay, Alder Figueroa Cole, do you want to be recorded as abstaining, or do you want a roll call vote?
You can look me as abstain if nobody else cares about it, so I'm fine with that.
Okay, is there anyone else who, any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries unanimously with, except for one abstention by Alder Figueroa Cole. Next on our agenda is item 16, amending 3805-3F of the MGO to replace the word church with place of worship for the purpose of alcohol licensing distance restrictions. Is there, Alder Verveer?
Thank you, Chair. Speaking of formal titles, I noticed that Police Detective Lieutenant Tim Radke is not listed as a panelist, but rather an attendee. So I wanted to request that our tech facilitator please promote the Detective Lieutenant as he's acting as a police representative at tonight's meeting.
All right, that's done. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
spotting that. Is there a registrant or is the author here?
I believe Assistant City Attorney McReynolds is going to speak on this item.
Okay, Assistant City Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you, Chair. This one's pretty straightforward. So the state law, I think you probably remember from last meeting's discussion about the 300 feet sort of rule in the state law. It restricts Class A and Class B licenses from being 300 feet of schools, hospitals, and then the state law says the word churches. So we use the word churches in the ordinance, but we have the flexibility as a city to amend that. And so as we were preparing that sort of other ordinance, we came across the word church. I'm saying as Alder Bitterver and myself, and thought, oh, that's a little strange that we single out churches. So we changed it to place of worship to include other kinds of religious buildings in our city. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the attorney? How does the word church get interpreted? Ms. Farley, you have a question?
Yeah. I would agree that I think it makes sense. Is there a definition provided for place of worship? Because my only concern there is like technically you can worship any place, right? So how do we define or clarify that we mean, churches, synagogues, mosques, etc.?
Yeah, I think the term place of worship, I don't know that it's specifically identified in our ordinance. But I think it is kind of commonly used and commonly known to include all of those kinds of places. And instead of listing them out, church, synagogue, masjid, I think place of worship leaves it kind of open to include other places we might not be thinking of. I know you're right. Technically, any place could be a place of worship. Also, this is not prohibiting the location of a premise. It's that idea of that it would be prohibited unless approved. So it still isn't going to automatically, prohibit anything or anything more than was being done. I think it's kind of just semantics, but to try to be more inclusive to everyone in our city.
Thank you.
Ms. Westra?
So I was just going to follow up, and Attorney McReynolds said this at the end, just to follow up and modernize and make our language more inclusive is the intent behind this change.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Further questions? Or a motion?
I move approval.
All right, moved approval by Ms. Carter. Ms. Westra, is that a second?
It is.
Seconded by Ms. Westra to recommend approval of the ordinance change. Is there any objection? Ms. Westra, your hand is still up. Is that an objection?
Sorry.
Okay, so no, without objection, then that motion carries. We are on item 17, change of license premises for the stuffed olive. You have a registrant for this one.
Yep, there's two registrants. Anthony DeSalvo is in support, available to answer questions, and Nicholas Davies is in support, not wishing to speak.
Okay.
And Tony DeSalvo is in Zoom.
Okay, Tony, explain your plans for a sidewalk cafe.
Well, good evening, committee members. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. We have the stuffed olive, as you know from the last ALRC meeting, and we are requesting to be able to serve alcohol on our 4 top tables. It has already been approved by the city. We've already got our cafe license. In terms of being able to actually place the tables in the patio and so on and so forth, of course, without serving alcohol. We have absolutely no problem, shutting everything down at midnight. I believe, that's the preferred, desire for the operators that do have a cafe license, with that to be able to serve alcohol on the street. So I want to make sure that, the committee members know that we have absolutely no problem doing that whatsoever. And, we feel that would be a nice location at the corner there of State and Gorham, but it's mainly on State, mind you, to be able to have our guests enjoy the stuffed olive.
Thank you. Any questions from members of the committee? So Tony, did you meet with or notify the neighborhood association?
I didn't know I needed to. I did not, per se.
Okay.
I do apologize for that. I do know that I spoke with Alder Verveer.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
It's
Yeah, sorry.
it's okay. It's Ms. Carter.
Tony, I know you were here last month, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And was it, was this also regarding the sidewalk?
No, it was not. It was regarding, no, that was regarding the 21 and over to have a DJ or live entertainment for the Stuffed Olive. And that was granted by you and the Common Council
Okay.
with the restriction of having to not have that take place after 9 o'clock.
Okay, I just wanted clarification on that. So this one will be just serving food outside and at some point, maybe alcohol?
Yes, we're not serving anything yet, but if all goes well
Yeah.
today, and of course with the Common Council, I believe on the 5th, that we would be able to serve alcohol as well. It's literally right outside our door.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Verveer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Welcome back, Tony. Could you repeat what you said about would you cease alcohol service outside at midnight? Because that's not required by city ordinance.
Yes, we would not have a problem, ceasing alcohol service at midnight and then breaking down the patio. We know that the area of State and Gorham is a unique place. And, we just felt that would be the best interest of, everybody, guests, as well as, our people walking by and so on and so forth. Maybe perhaps in the future, if we're allowed to, Alder Verveer, to go back and say, hey, can we do it? But maybe, not on the weekends, then perhaps that might be an option if we're so allowed.
Well, that sounds good. To clarify, the city's vending ordinance does allow for alcohol service on licensed sidewalk cafes downtown until 1 hour prior to state bar time. So you would actually be allowed by law, if the license is granted, if your change of license premise is granted, to have the alcohol served and containers on the table until 1 hour prior to bar time, 1 a.m. weekdays, 1:30 a.m. weekends. And then in terms of the equipment or furniture, that's
Sure.
allowed to stay outside until 1 hour after you close. But I appreciate your sensitivity to I'll say perhaps popularity of the area. Others might say overcrowding on weekend nights. If you'd rather not have your service and furniture out that late.
Well,
I just want to clarify, though, that the midnight isn't any city ordinance or requirement.
May I?
Yeah, please respond, Tony. Sure.
Thank you. Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, we would, of course, prefer to have that option. If that wouldn't be a written in, I guess, restriction, we would absolutely want to err on the side of caution, knowing now and being educated in what you just told me, Alder Verveer. So thank you for that. And of course, the other items that are pursuant to our current liquor license would still apply, right? We wouldn't allow anybody else on the actual patio, later than 1 hour beforehand, and so on and so forth and so on. So we would absolutely err on the side of caution, and be very cognizant, I want to say, of the street, even on very busy days. So.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Chair.
Further questions from the committee? Any further questions? Seeing none? Is there a motion or discussion?
I move to grant.
Moved by Alder Verveer, seconded by Ms. Farley. The grant. Any debate or discussion? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too. Item number 18, Aftershock Classic Arcade.
We have 2 registrations for that item. A Chris Welsh is in support, available to answer questions, and Nicholas Davies in support, not wishing to speak. And Chris is in Zoom.
Okay, Chris, why don't you tell us about your request to add a patio on the driveway side of the building?
Absolutely. Is everyone able to hear me?
I can, yes.
Wonderful. My name is Chris Welch. I'm the co-owner of Trixie's Liquor, co-owner of Aftershock Arcade. We have run the arcade going on year number 4. Next to the arcade is a patio. It used to have alcohol in it when it was run by the Parched Eagle. The Parched Eagle is no longer in business, and there's been no alcohol in there for 2 years. We're looking to add alcohol to that side and just kind of revamp and add some money to the patio in an effort to increase sales.
All right, thank you. Questions from committee members? Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Have you had a chance to consult with city zoning staff about this request yet?
I have not.
Okay, so there's a city zoning code requirement that any food or drink service on private property, which is what this is obviously, does require approval from city zoning. So I just wanted to make sure that you're aware of that early so you're not blindsided by that requirement, perhaps surprising you at a later date. So I would encourage you to contact them and fill out the necessary application, complete the necessary application with them. You would not have to appear before the Plan Commission unless you seek special permission to serve later into the evening or have amplified sound of any sort outside.
Sounds good. Does the approval of the ALRC board have to happen first, or once I get approval, do I need to then go to the planning?
Great question. There's absolutely no right answer to that. You can come here first or attend, in the old days before the pandemic and our so-called streetery program, everyone had to go to the Plan Commission for outdoor food and drink on private property. We relaxed that regulation now, and most can be approved administratively. So I was about to say you could come here first or go to the Plan Commission first. You can come here first or consult with city zoning staff first. It doesn't matter. So we should be able to consider your application tonight, and you could reach out to them tomorrow, and then you wouldn't have to come back to us for this.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Westra.
One question for the applicant, and then maybe for Attorney McReynolds if this doesn't apply. Chris, do you have full control of that patio, and is that patio included in your lease?
Yes, it is. So there's no other alcohol license in that address. And as of 2 years ago, I'm also part of the property group that bought the building. So the short answer is no one else will be using that patio other than Aftershock Arcade.
Okay, because somehow, and maybe my understanding, this is where Attorney McReynolds comes in, is sometimes I believe we have to have that patio called out in the lease as part of Aftershocks, and I don't know how that runs with you also owning the building. So that's where it gets a little confusing.
That's a great question. I could review, but if necessary, we can make sure and add that the patio is part of Aftershock.
Perfect.
All right. Is your question answered, Ms. Westra?
Hold up, sorry. It is unless Attorney McReynolds says I'm wrong.
All right. Is there any anything to add or correct, Attorney McReynolds?
No, I think that sounds right. I would be more concerned about an actual lease if it were a different property owner. But since he's one of the property owners, I don't see a cause for concern right now.
Okay. Further questions or comments? Alder Verveer.
Once again, I wasn't going to ask this question because I know it's somewhat unrelated, but since Mr. Welch shared that he's the property owner, can I ask you, sir, was the large unauthorized drinking party 4th of July weekend on your property?
Yes, it was. Unfortunately, it did make the news. We're in the process of evicting them. So we had issues with prior renters about a year ago. That was part of 1414 and they were evicted. This was a new tenant at 1440. As you can read in the newspaper, they had been renting for 4 months, had yet to build anything. But as of today, we are evicting them. They violated their lease in terms of having events on the property, having events, not giving us 10-day notice, as well as serving illegal alcohol. So while this has nothing to do with Aftershock, it was disappointing, but they're currently being evicted.
Thank you for sharing that. And if I remember the police incident report correctly, you or a fellow property owner were the ones that actually notified the authorities. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Not on Friday the 4th. I didn't find out till after the fact, but yes, Saturday the 5th, it was me that showed up at 2 a.m. to unlock the doors, let the cops in, kindly explained to the 26-year-old renter that no, you cannot have 200 people in that building, and we began to evict him.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not saying that there was 2 nights of parties. The one I read about was you're right, that Saturday night of 4th of July weekend, not on the 4th itself.
No, I got a phone call from the police officer a few hours before the Saturday event, so we are well aware and took proactive measures. We're aware of it.
Great. Thanks very much again.
Further questions from the committee? Ms. Carter.
I'd like to move approval.
Okay. There's a motion to approve.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Westra, to approve. Any discussion? Questions for staff? Seeing none, is there any objection to approval? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is public hearing, new license, Speedway 4132. Do we have a registrant for this one?
We do not. We don't have a registrant for this item or the next one for Speedway or 7-Eleven. It's the same applicants. They were also in last month's meeting and they didn't show. After I sent the invite to the meeting, the applicant, or at least the person who's listed as the contact, emailed me back asking, do we need to attend this? And I said, yes, you do. And it's referred to this month's meeting because nobody attended last month's meeting. And I sent them another email probably about 30 minutes ago, just saying, hey, I don't see you registered on this. Just so you know, sometimes the committee, if there's consecutive meetings where an applicant does not attend, that the committee has placed the items on file. So that is the situation as it is.
All right, thank you for that explanation. Ms. Westra.
So, Jim, if I move to place this on file, that means they have to start the process all over again, correct?
Yes, unless they go to council and fall upon their knees and ask that the council bring it back to here. But both these locations, they currently have Class A beer licenses. This would be to add the Class A liquor to serve wine and cider, I believe, is what the goal of this is.
Okay, because they wouldn't get a full liquor license because they have gas pumps.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Ms. Carter. Ms. Carter, if you're talking, we can't hear you.
I was talking. I don't want to refer it, but if we place it on file without prejudice, would they come back to us versus throwing themselves on the mercy of the council?
Well, it would be because the recommendation to place on file would go to common council. So they could potentially show
Right, that
up
would.
at the beginning of August at that council meeting to ask it to come back. Otherwise, if the council takes the action to place on file without prejudice, they're free to make a new application at any point to do this all over again and hopefully show
Okay,
up.
that was just a question. Go ahead, Ms. Westra.
Ms. Westra, you've been recognized.
I know. I'm thinking about what I want to do. I'm going to be generous today. I'm gonna move referral to the next meeting of the ALRC. And with a note that this is the last referral.
All right, so I'll move to refer by Ms. Westra. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Carter. Any discussion?
Would this be for 19 and 20?
Yes.
Yep, 19 and 20. Any discussion? I'll just note that I think we always give them 2 no-shows before placing on file, at least in my recollection. So this is consistent with that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is there objection to referral? Seeing none, motion carries. These are referred to the next meeting. Next on the agenda is item 21. New license. This is fabulous. This is all fabulous.
We have one registrant, Kyle Keepert, who is registered in support and wishing to speak and is in Zoom.
Okay, Kyle, tell us about your proposal.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank everybody that helped us and me get through this process. This is my first time doing this, and everybody's been awesome. So thank you very much to everyone that I've spoken to about this. This is all fabulous is primarily a catering company. This past summer, we pursued finding a kitchen space of our own to operate out of, and we ended up at 1026 North Sherman Avenue, which is the former Cafe La Bella Italia, which did have a liquor license. And with all of that space that we weren't necessarily expecting to get, we had the opportunity to start thinking of increasing our offerings. And one of those things, and primarily what I'm speaking to you guys about and what we want to do is be able to serve wine and beer at private events that we do, because we also do private dinners and pop-up dinners and that sort of thing. And then potentially in the future explore a wine bar and sort of retail wine for the surrounding community, both by the bottle unopened to take home, and then also by the glass or bottle for consumption on premises.
Thank you. Are there questions from committee members? I have a question, Kyle. Can you discuss your you said a few people helped you get to this point. Did you discuss it with the neighborhood, with neighbors and the police and the alder in the district?
We did. Yeah. So I was given a list of names to call by Jim Verbrick. I'm sorry, I don't know your official title, but yeah, I called all of the names on that list, and that was fire and police and the neighborhood. Yeah, so I believe I spoke to everyone that's recommended.
Okay, that sounds good. And did anyone have any concerns?
No, not
Okay.
at all.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you, Chair. Kyle, so I'm sorry, did you say something about wine?
I did, yes.
So are you requesting a wine license, a Class C license?
No, we're requesting a Class B full license because we would like to do retail wine and consumption on premises.
So, Jim, is this then a combination one then?
It is, yeah. The only way they would be able to sell wine for off-premise consumption would be through this route. If they did a Class C wine license, the only way you can sell a wine for off-premises is if you're selling the remainder of a bottle that was purchased as part of a meal. So the full Class B combo gives them the freedom to sell of a full bottle or whatever.
Thank you for the clarification. And also, I see that you have an outdoor seating
What was
area. The application has an outdoor seating.
Yeah, we do have plans to go through the process of getting the back of our property approved as a patio. We haven't done that yet. We have no plans to do any dinners in the very immediate future. But you know, we have a really gorgeous area towards the back of our property that we would like to turn into a patio eventually, if it was okay with the powers that be.
So, and when you say you're going through the process, you mean like the city processes also?
Yeah, so right now we have not, you know, because it's my understanding not to do a patio. There's a separate application and that sort of thing, and we just haven't looked into it yet. And for the time being, we will not be serving anything out there. But it's just something that I wanted to mention in the application as something that we were interested in exploring in the future.
Thank you. So can I ask a question to the attorney?
Yes, you may.
Okay. All right. I need to go back to that part. Amber, so this is in the application. It says indoor and outdoor seating. When we approve this, does it imply that we also approve in the outdoor? Or do they have to come back
Yes.
for a change of premises type of thing? Like, what does that mean?
If the application described in the premise, let me just double check here. The key is what's described as the premise. So
Is that question 9?
8. And so it does say will also be served on our attached patio as well as a seating area at the back of our property. So
Can you tell me
that's
where are you? Which part of the application that is? What number?
section B, number 8.
Thank you. Oh, I see.
Yeah, so the way that this works, I think maybe Elder Verveer mentioned this earlier, sort of when someone has an outdoor space or patio, a lot of times it's kind of going back and forth between ALRC and zoning, you know, as to who goes first. And so what you could do is if you approve this license as the application is stated, it doesn't mean that they get to automatically use the patio and outdoor seating area unless they would be allowed by zoning.
Young Commission.
But it would approve it in case they are approved by zoning, then they would not have to come back for a change of premise.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Appreciate it. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you. I also wanted to make a clarification. I don't know how many of you have been in Cafe La Belle Italia, but so when I say the attached patio, there's like almost like a fully enclosed outdoor seating area that you can access through doors from inside of the building. It's like almost part of the building. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I did just want to make that clarification that it is almost part of the building.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Glenn.
I think Sherry was up before me. You just can't see her hand because it's hidden in the yellow flowers.
All right, Ms. Carter.
Carter, the tulips. Kyle, for now, I know you have future plans for this facility, but for now you're just catering from it. And then eventually people can have dinner there or whatever meal you're serving. Am I right on that?
Yeah. So right now we're right in the middle of catering season. So we haven't done anything within our building. but you know, in the future, we're not really looking to open up a restaurant per se. Really, what we're looking at primarily for is like just the ability to do like private dining.
Oh,
And
okay.
so people can hire us and rent out our space for things like rehearsal dinners and that sort of thing. And then you know, just give us the flexibility as chefs to explore food and dining as we want to and be able to serve our guests wine as part of that experience.
Okay, thank you very much. And I have had many dinners there in the past. So
It's
I
such
know
a,
where, go ahead.
oh, it's a very special place as a cook and somebody who's been doing this for a long time. Anytime you see a restaurant that's been open for as long as they were, it's pretty cool. So we feel very fortunate to be in that space and one.
Absolutely. And that patio, you're absolutely correct. You can go out on it from inside. So I'm glad something's going in there.
Thank you. Yeah, we're very excited.
All right, so I saw Alder Glenn and Miss Wester had hands up, but they're now down. So I'll take that to mean you're no longer.
Yeah, I put mine down when you called on me. So
Okay,
yeah.
then
And
then you're next in the queue. Go ahead.
okay. First I just want to say welcome to the neighborhood. I'm right by 12 and 18,
thank you.
and yeah, we've been wondering. It is a staple, that building of the north side. So I will say that there will be many that will be wondering what you're doing with it.
Yeah, we've
Um,
had some folks stop by and yeah, it's been fun to be part of the neighborhood.
I just want to point out here on your application, just for future once, if someone looks over it and we're not in the room, that you accidentally put no for. I understand that I'm required. Wait, no. This one. Hold on. I agree to contact the police district captain for this location prior to the ALRC meeting. And it sounds like you did, but you marked no. And
I
I just
marked
hate for
no.
later on down the road for that someone to think that you were being obstinate or something. Or
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that was
so
not my intention.
just
Thank you very much.
yes. And then the last part is if you do end up doing something with the patio, it would be just as an extension of what you're going to be doing, like dinners or people renting the place, rehearsal. Not you'd be using as it is because it's so part of the building, not like an entertainment space, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, just
Okay.
kind of as it is. We might do some cosmetic changes and fix it up a little bit, but yeah, not as like a separate entertainment area or anything like that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Wester, did you have a question?
Not anymore, no.
Okay, Alder Revere.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of just clarifying questions for you, Kyle. The first one is back to the fact that you call Bella Italia's old space to the side a patio. That was helpful. I've eaten in there before in that space, and I never thought of it as a patio.
Yeah, it's kind of in between.
Exactly. So I just wanted to clarify on your application in terms of the capacity you're seeking. When you say 40 indoor, that includes what you're calling the patio, obviously, right?
Yeah, so I can give some clarification. You know, we plan to use the indoor space as a multi-use kind of food space. You know, we like to have our farmers come in and speak with the public and whatever. And so we're designing that space to be able to hold 40 people comfortably. And then the patio to the side is actually sort of what I'd envisioned as, you know, 30. I remember counting kind of the chairs, but
so the 30 under outdoor in the application where you say 30, that does include you're calling Bella Italia's former patio space? Or
Uh,
outdoor is the area that you're hoping someday to create outside toward the wooded area and the rear parking lot?
uh, when I wrote the application, that area was still kind of not even in the works at all, and so I was speaking about that patio, Cafe Bella Italia's former patio.
Okay, so it's 40 in the, I'll call it the first dining room when you enter, and 30 in the side dining room
Yeah,
for a total of
sort of
70.
outdoor area, yeah, because
Okay,
there's no roof over it.
yeah. And then did you wish to try to seek approval for the future area toward the tree line in the back tonight,
know,
or did you want to come back when you had more details on that?
I think I would probably prefer to come back with more details. I mean, it's my understanding that we would have to get that area approved anyways, and so that's something that we could kind of expedite depending on the results of tonight's meeting. But yeah, like I said, we're right in the middle of catering season, so any sort of plans that we have will probably not really commence until early October, would be my guess. And so that gives us a lot of time to sort of explore what that backwooded area could be and get back to you guys.
Okay, that sounds good that you don't mind visiting with us again then. Because I was going to suggest to try to be user friendly since you do have it in your description for your licensed premise as previously discussed, that if you wanted to keep that in there, I was going to ask you to supply a diagram to the city clerk before the city council meeting so that we'd have that in the file. But it sounds like alternatively, we should just strike on the record here during the meeting the phrase, quote, as well as a seating area at the back of our property. Does that sound good to you, Kyle? Or
Yeah, that sounds great. And it's good to know that you'll be looking for a diagram, because that's something that we can start looking at soon here and get before you guys.
yeah, we're very user friendly here. The handwritten crude diagram that you supplied for the interior is fine with us. I can't
Beautiful.
speak for our friends in the zoning section of our building inspection division. They sometimes require registered architect stamps and that sort of thing. So I don't know what'll fly for the outdoor seating toward the trees.
Yeah, we can get anything that's required for that, whether it be an actual architect's drawing or whatever's required.
Right, and you obviously heard the previous colloquy with another applicant that you need to work with city zoning then for that outdoor space.
Yep.
Yeah, you won't, since, by the way, you don't need to deal with them immediately for the Bella Italia's former patio space because conditional uses for outdoor food and drink run with the property. So I'm sure that those folks, since they've been in business, like 20 years, that they did have the required zoning for the patio, but you know, be safe, you could double check with zoning on that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then the other question, I do remember reading the very nice article about you and your fellow members of the Culinary Collective in the Cap Times. And in that article, and maybe I misunderstood it, but I thought that the space that would be open to the public would be called Ruse, but I must have misread it. So the signage out front, just so that we have the doing business as name correct on your license.
Yeah.
This is all fabulous, is what members of the public like ourselves would go to enjoy food and drink. So that is the DBA name moving forward.
Yeah, so here I can kind of explain the situation. I would defer to you on what you think we should do. But Ruse is the name of the building itself. And so that's a separate business, a separate LLC that building is under, and that building is something that I'm not tied with on paper or anything. That's a separate entity. This is all fabulous as our catering company. And we're the primary and currently the only tenant. We would like to be able to serve, other cooks that are looking for certified, professional commercial kitchen space. similar to what Feed does, just to kind of deal with some of their overflow. And that's why we have the sort of ruse name. And so if a cook were to want to apply to, have space in our kitchen, they would be dealing with ruse as an entity. But as far as all of the food production and dining and everything, that's sort of under the umbrella of This Is All Fabulous, and This Is All Fabulous is who would be selling that wine.
Okay, that's perfect. And I know that your sample menu that you shared with us does say This Is All Fabulous.
Yeah.
So for the pop-ups, it would be under the business known as Fabulous in essence.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like This Is All Fabulous at Ruse or something of the sort.
Okay, that seems fine to me in terms of what we have you down then for the business name.
Great.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Good luck.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Ms. Westra.
I have to ask Kyle, before I move a motion. Kyle, is there any way that you can get Pietro's marinara sauce recipe? I have been going through lasagna withdrawal.
Oh man, it's funny. I think the marinara recipe was discussed. I don't currently have it, and I don't know if anybody in our business currently has it, but it has been discussed. So, keep your eyes peeled.
If you get it and just have lasagna on the menu as a grab and go, I will be there in 5 minutes.
Amazing. Well, that's good to know.
Chair, I would like to move approval of this
Second.
application.
Moved by Ms. Westra, seconded by Ms. Carter. Any discussion? Are there any other registrants wishing to speak?
There are not for this item.
Okay. So is there Alder Figueroa Cole?
I just have a general question maybe for Amber and whatever. So I know I had asked this before, but I'm going to ask it again. So the applicants put down the hours of operation, but if we don't put that as a condition of the license, those hours don't really have any enforceability. So I'm wondering, what is the committee's practice to use the hours to use to ensure or to maybe support like a new business or whatever, to use those hours of operations as conditions on the license? I mean, do we have any practice? Do we have any like a standard thing where, like, I remember at some point, Amy, I have you in my head saying let's use the script that you guys were using at some point, where did you ask the elders? Did you do this? And then how do we apply those the conditions specifically about the hours on a way that is equitable across the board? Do you guys have any guidelines on that as a committee?
Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you. As the legal advisor, I have not advised that there be specific guidelines. I don't think there are, because every application is reviewed on its own. I think the default is just to approve without giving conditions on specific hours unless there is some kind of known concern. So, like if the neighborhood association suggested or the police department thinks there's a concern with an area, that's the only time I've seen hours limited in this way. But yeah, I don't think there is a specific kind of other default for this body.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that feedback. I just kind of looking for best practices and trying to make decisions to be, I don't know, just trying to move us in a direction that we are consistent. And I get it, it's on a one-to-one basis, but as much consistent we can get, that will be fine. But thanks for that feedback. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, further questions or discussion? There is a motion to approve. You have those names? Because I forgot them already.
Yeah, it was Ms. Westrom made the motion and Ms. Carter seconded.
All right, is there any objection to the motion to approve? Seeing none, that's approved. Thank you. We are now ready to move back to items 11 and 12. That's the entity reorganization for University Avenue Liquor and City View Liquor. And is our registrant in Zoom?
Yes. Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Lovely. Thank you.
So go ahead and explain what you're doing with the businesses.
Pretty simple. My former business partner and I, we started the company in August of 2009, and I just purchased his half of the business. So he has been a non-involved silent partner for like the last 11 years. So we just decided to part ways with him to part ways with the company, and just buying out his share is all that's going on.
Okay, thank you. And is anything going to change with the way the businesses operate?
No, the only thing that's going to change is I have 2 employees that I'm going to bring on the ownership side. They'll each get a 2% share. So I don't believe that is, I think it's only if more than 50% changes that you need to reapply. That was one of the things I wanted to ask you guys. So, but yeah, the businesses are going to be run the same way.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from members of the committee? Do you have any concerns with what he said about bringing 2 employees on as 2% owners?
Yeah, I don't think a new application needs to be submitted, but I think you would need to have a change of officer with them listed, and we would have to background check them.
They're both the listed agents on the license, one for the store downtown, one for the store on the east side. And they've both gone through background checks, I think, within the last 6 months.
Okay, I'll defer to Assistant City Attorney McReynolds, but I think at the very least we'd have to have an application that adds them as members to the business.
Okay.
Alder Verveer.
Thank you. I can yield though to Assistant City Attorney McReynolds if she wanted to respond.
Sure. I agree that we would need the change of officer. If they are officers, members, or directors, then they would need to be added. And then, yeah, if they've already had the background check done, then, I mean, they would still fill out the application, and then Jim can process that as he normally would.
Okay, nothing's been completed yet. You know, this is kind of just a plan that I have with them. So obviously I should wait until they're available or able to purchase the shares, so to speak.
Yes, if they're not officers yet, then nothing needs to be done right now. And then if it happens down the road, then that's when you would file the change of officers form.
Okay, so it'll be by the end of this month. So I will file that then beginning of August. Does that work? Should I file it before they purchase or after they purchase?
I mean, I can't give legal advice on that. I honestly don't think it makes a huge difference because the language on here is future leaning. So I think as soon as you know what's going on with the business, you can submit it.
Okay. Excellent. I will do that then, I don't know, next week or so then.
All right. Further questions? Questions, comments from members of the committee?
Well, I'll reclaim my time then, Chair.
Okay.
If I could, yeah. I was just going to say, I was going to say, on the point of what steps should be taken to add these additional members of the limited liability company, that the advice that was just given is exactly what I was going to share when I first sought recognition. But I do want to say hi to Herbie and say it's going to be an
Hi, Alder Vivier.
certainly is an end of an era to have Joel no longer involved with UAL. It's been decades, hasn't it?
Since 2002, I think. So
When he started with Mahan was 2002.
I believe 2002. Yep. I actually got my job there over a poker game. So that's how it started.
And look where you are now.
Exactly. On Zoom, driving
Yeah,
back
your
from
empire
Milwaukee.
going. Well, let me also just say I think it's cool that you're having your managers get an ownership share of the business. I think that's to be commended, and we'll look forward to that application then in the next month or two.
Well, awesome. Well, thank
Lastly,
you.
give Joel my regards. Take care.
Will do. Will do.
Chair, if there are no further questions, I'm pleased to move to grant both agenda items,
Okay.
11 and 12.
Sounds good. Motion by Alder Revere to grant item 11 and 12, seconded by Ms. Farley. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection to the motion? Seeing none, the motion
Did I
carries.
second that?
I thought I heard your voice.
Well, it was me.
No, it was not me.
Was it Alder Glenn?
It was Alder Glenn.
All right. Thanks for catching that.
I figured if Farley wanted it, she could be it, but I could be second.
I'm mainly going off of voices here. I can't see whose lips are moving from where I'm seated. FYI. But it's corrected for the minutes. Is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries. All right. Next on our agenda is item 22, Spark by Hilton Madison Central.
Yep, we have Neil Densmore is registered in support and in Zoom.
Okay. Neil, tell us about your request.
So the Spark is the old Clarion at the Land Energy Center. We purchased that in January, and it's been closed since we purchased it, and it's going through a total renovation, top to bottom, everything. In part of that renovation, we built a small market adjacent to the front desk, similar to what we have at the Holiday Inn Express across the street, and we'll be serving beer and wine out of that market. So there's no bar or entertainment or anything. It's just a pretty limited operation.
Thank you. Did you discuss this with the alder of the district?
Did, and there's really no neighborhood there. I mean,
right.
I think they reached out, but there was not even a response back. So I'm not even sure where the closest house would be to that location, but we did.
Fair enough. Did you discuss it with Alder Knox?
I did not myself, but I believe John Cothey is the actual listed agent. I believe he did.
Okay. And did you just
100% sure, but I believe someone reached out.
Do you have a discussion with the police in that area?
Right. Yep. Yeah, and we have the nice thing there is we have the county literally right next to us also.
Okay.
short time being, until they build a new location.
Ms. Carter?
Yeah, thank you. Neil, the closest neighborhood is Capitol View neighborhood for your records. They're just up the street from Russ, where you're located. So this is a hotel with a market that is open to the public.
The hotel guests.
So the market is only open to the hotel guests.
It's the license we're looking for is only on premise, so we can't purchase it to go. So, yeah, I guess it would be only hotel guests that would. I mean, we have this at all of our hotels, and I would say 99% of it is they either take it to their room or occasionally will sit in the lobby and watch TV and have a beer or something before they go to bed.
Okay, and that market is open till 2 a.m.?
We close, we have a separate refrigerator for the alcohol products, and we close it at 9 o'clock.
Okay.
All right. Is there any further questions?
No, I'll come back. Thank you.
Further questions from committee members? Any questions for staff? All right, seeing none. Is there a motion? Ms. Westra.
Move approval.
Ms. Westra moves approval.
Second.
Seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. Any discussion? Any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries. This is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Next on our agenda, item 23, Moon Bar.
Yep, we have Jeffrey Root is registered in support and wishing to speak. We also have Brano Kruger, who is in support, available to answer questions.
You can come up and microphone here. All right, tell us about your business and your request.
Yeah, first off, thank you all for, I don't know where to look, so I'm just going to probably look at you two. No, thank you for having me in this evening, and thank you for the opportunity to present what I'm looking to do here. So I have been working with Brano, who's the current owner of Danny's Pub, that's at 328 West Gorham currently, about purchasing it, rebranding it, and calling it Light of the Moon, probably doing business as Moon Bar. The reason I want to get into this and really my view and my vision for it is my wife and I have been operating a rental business in the downtown area for the last 13-ish years, primarily student neighborhoods, but not exclusively student rentals. Alder Revere, you and I have met at several of the Mifflin Block Party meetings. I've got 5 houses on that block, so we see some action that weekend every year. But we have been looking for ways to expand our reach for our business to help continue to support the downtown community, the student community, the young professionals, and really just everybody that calls that part of Madison home. My wife and I both are alumni of the university. She's actually a 3rd generation alumni, and both of my kids are there currently and making them 4th generation. So we've really enjoyed the opportunity over the years to help provide an experience for the students, comfortable, safe, that mimics what we were able to experience when we were there. And now we're looking to do the same and expand into this business.
Thank you. Have you had discussions with the police in the area? How did that go?
It went well. I spoke with Captain Hartman. He was supportive of the general idea, and I also just got an email from him last week supporting the entertainment license, which is the next item on the agenda as well.
Sure.
So he was supportive, and actually I really appreciated his input. He said that the police have quite a few resources available to us for things like fake IDs and all the things that you could imagine you would run into owning a bar. So I told him, don't offer if you don't mean it. I'm going to take you up on that. So I look forward to working with him and his team closely.
Sounds great, because that's a critical location, I would say. And as we get into the discussion, feel free to discuss issues related to both the new license and the entertainment license.
Sure.
Because we will think about them at the same time.
Sure, absolutely.
Are there any questions from members of the committee? Any questions from committee members? Ms. Farley.
I've noticed on your application under hours of operation, you listed like 3 p.m. to close, 9 p.m. to close. I'm assuming that's like bar time?
Yes. I mean, I suppose it could be on paper, it could be 3 to 1:30, but yeah. I'm happy to change that if you need me to.
No, I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Yep. And also with the hours, the idea is to serve food until 9 o'clock on most nights, at least as a start. That's going to be the template, unless there's events going, games, things of that nature. But
All right. Lieutenant Radke.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm. I have an email from Captain Hartman confirming what Mr. Rude said. No concerns from him on the entertainment license.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Figueroa Cole.
I'm trying to figure out what the entertainment license hours are, but I can't. Would those be the same as the operation?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again? I missed the
For
first
the
part.
entertainment license, what are the hours for that?
I believe they'd be the same.
Okay, thank you.
Alder Verveer.
Thank you. Hi, Jeff. My first thought is that why don't you, rather than me asking questions about the entertainment license application and what you plan to do, why don't you just go ahead and speak to the entertainment license, because we will most certainly consider that with the alcohol license application as one motion.
Absolutely. Happy to do that. Thanks. So for the entertainment license, it's an 18 and up, and it is primarily it's going to be for DJs and live music. And I don't know if karaoke counts as DJs or live music, but we'll have that as well. The idea is twofold. We want to lean into the music a little bit more than it currently is right now, and support local artists. I'm a musician. I play around town at places, so I have a lot of passion for that. So if you're not familiar with the layout of the facility, the first floor is more booths. There's a bar in the middle. We want to add a small stage there for like acoustic performers for happy hours. DJs can certainly utilize that space as well as karaoke. Then upstairs is a little bit more of an event space where over the years Danny's Pub has been had a lot of success in hosting parties for different parties and events for different student organizations and local organizations in the area. So we certainly want to be able to continue to do that, utilizing again different entertainment formats for the different events. DJs, bands, things of that nature, to improve the experience of the folks that are there throwing the events.
Thank you. So in essence, you're planning to really just continue what Brano's been doing since he opened.
Correct.
Did I miss what changes there might be in terms of entertainment offerings?
I would say, not being 100% familiar with everything Bronno's done over the years, I would say live music will probably have more of a place than it had in the past. But certainly the event space upstairs, very important to be able to have the entertainment to facilitate and make those events awesome experiences.
And Bronno is registered to speak, so I think I might ask him a question in a moment as well. Are you, and by the way, I was impressed with your business plan. I was impressed with your application. So thank you for being so thorough in your application.
Thank you.
And we appreciate that very much. Since you clearly have done your homework on this, you must be familiar with the current license conditions that Danny's has.
Honestly, I'm not. I don't know if Bronno has anything to say on that.
Well, one is kind of a sore subject with me and a pet peeve of mine, which Bronno remembers well. And so that's why I might put him on the spot and ask him to share what he currently does with his trash and recycling. So there are two conditions on Danny's current license. And one is that no refuse or recycling is to be stored on public property. And that's because of the unsightly dumpsters on North Broome Street, adjacent to the business. Have you talked about this at all, Jeff?
Unfortunately, I'm unaware of that.
Okay. Maybe, Chair, could we have Bronno just so we can deal with that issue first?
Yes.
Why don't we have Bronno come address that, and as he remembers it well.
Alder Revere and other members, hello.
Hey, Bronno. Good to see you, despite it being on camera. So obviously, you know that the ALRC placed that condition on your license some time ago. Were you ever able to do anything creative with this?
We had done two different options over the years with the previous tenant for one of our neighboring businesses in the parking lot. I guess that would be up Gorham, away from the intersection of Gorham and Broome. With one tenant there, we had been able to move our dumpsters there for a while before that changed over. And for a while, we had switched from the 2-yard dumpsters to the rolling totes and had kept those in the back hallway until fire advised us not to do that. So we had removed those. And since then, it had kind of fallen off my radar and been just kind of on the back burner and forgotten about, to be honest with you.
I understand. You've been raising a family since then, among other things. Do you have any ideas for Jeff?
Definitely something that we can work with. I know that there's another new tenant next to us. We can explore options for something similar that we do on the businesses on State Street with keeping the rolling totes in the basement. We've been in the process of cleaning that out, so there is more space down there now. It had not entered my mind recently, but you have reminded me that it's on there. Definitely something that we can make work for you.
Well, that'll be great. I appreciate that, Bronno and Jeff, very much. Like I said, it's been an eyesore for a very long time and a pet peeve of mine. It's not just you, of course. There's others on Broome Street as well on that block.
Sure.
But it's something that I was optimistic that we could nip in the bud.
And I don't know. Sorry, I don't know if it was mentioned in his business plan or anything like that. But as part of our agreement, I will be staying on to help and consult with him for the next year. So I want his business to be a success and to thrive in that corner like Danny's has. And I'm here to help him in every way possible for that.
I appreciate that. You anticipated my next question. I didn't remember if the business plan actually said 12 months as part of your agreement or not, but I do appreciate, and it was mentioned many times in the application, that you would be consultant to keep the business going. So it's anticipated it'll be a full year.
Yes, I mean, at least that's what is in writing. And as we've grown closer, I'm not looking to run for the hills anytime soon. I am still just a block away on State Street and still have close ties and friends all up and down State Street and the crossing streets. So I want him to do as well as I did there and better. So I'm going nowhere. I'm here to help.
Thank you. And as maybe my last question for you, Brano, and we'll go back to Jeff, is could you give us a estimate as to how you're doing in maybe two questions now that I think about it, but how you're doing with entertainment? You know, Jeff obviously shared his vision for entertainment, and I know you've had a DJ on the second floor for years. Is that something that you've really kept consistently? And then in addition, your service, as mentioned earlier, a third-party vendor for UW registered student organizations.
I think kind
And
of
their
tying those
events.
together, we have done well with that. We've maintained consistency with the DJs on the weekends, Fridays, Saturday nights. With our 18 and over entertainment license, that's allowed us to do a lot of the parties for the student organizations where we provide them with a safe party that's monitored. They have to register all those parties with the UW police, who in turn relay that to the Madison police. They check on us. We're in constant communication with them, with our safety monitors from the organizations, as well as our staff and security on. Other than that, we have done the DJs ourselves Friday and Saturdays with the expansion of those parties. From everything I've discussed with Jeff, it seems like he wants to take that and further expand upon it with some of the live music, the solo acoustic or duos, kind of elevate that and make that more open to more of the crowd in the neighborhood.
You might recall, Brano, that when we first granted the license that we had talked about, and I think it was, I don't remember, this was years ago, obviously, but it might have been a concern of our city attorney's office, how you deal with the 18 plus license. And we added a condition, as you know, that limited the 18 plus entertainment license to private parties only.
Yes.
For those under 21. Is that something that you've seen as kind of easy to enforce, or has that been problematic?
No, that's been incredibly easy to enforce. The standard weekend DJs have started at 10 o'clock when we are 21 and over, or when we close our kitchen down and we go legal drinking age and above only. As per, I don't know if it's on the license or just per state regulations, we're not allowed to let anyone in under 21 anyway on the weekend after 10 o'clock. So that has had zero effect. We only exercise that 18 and plus for the private parties, keep them secluded to either the second floor or they have to do a full rent out. But there is no intermingling of anyone in the party, 18 and older or 21 and older, with anyone from a general crowd in the building. We keep them either completely isolated or they have to take up the whole bar.
Thank you. And I do think that it's a very valuable service you provide, being a venue where the student organizations can safely can use. There aren't tons of those that are able to legally provide that option in the campus area. Switching gears to food for a minute, and then I think I'll come back to Jeff on a couple of these points, or I know I will. On food, I think you consistently have said that it's about 30% of your revenues, Brano.
Yes.
Is that where it is about now? And it looks like
I'd say it fluctuates between 30 and 35%. In the summer, it's a little higher because we don't have the patio. We're not seen as a summer bar. So our food sales has dropped, but not as much as our liquor sales. So I would say right now in the summer, our food percentage is probably actually higher than that, maybe pushing 40. But on a typical annual overlook, I would say we're consistently right around 30%. And that's because we were constantly pushing food specials, food for game days, everything. That was one of our big personal hopes was that we could feed as many people as possible in there.
Thank you. And I know you're doing well food-wise on State Street. I've seen that with my own eyes, so good for you for that. I think I'd like to pivot back to the applicant then, and then now that we've set the stage with the current business model and the current license holder serving as a consultant for the transition of ownership here. Jeff, if you could then come back and to the
Yes.
podium and answer a couple of questions, that would be great.
I'm back.
Maybe I'll go in reverse order and ask about food. So were you just thinking that you would copy Brano's current most recent alcohol license renewal application and with the 70-30 percentages alcohol and food, or
yes,
or with your business plan? Are you thinking of trying to be more robust in the future in terms of food offerings?
So I do hope to become more robust in the food offerings. So I guess maybe a question would be, I mean, it would seem to me that if you were going to be heavy on one thing, you'd probably rather us be heavy on food than heavy on alcohol. Is that a safe assumption?
Yes.
Right. So with that being said, I think the way that the facility is set up now, there's obviously the opportunity for food sales for catering for the events, right? So the more events we have, the more we're going to be able to have, food revenues there. We're hoping as we evolve things to maybe even get into like weekend brunch, things of that nature, to expand the opportunity to, as Brano said, feed as many people in the neighborhood. I like that. But to start, we're gonna keep things fairly simple on the food front, but definitely hope to become more robust as we move on, to use your words.
How long would food be available, do you think, say on a weekend night?
I would think till 9 or 10. I think I have till 9 on the application.
Yeah, I can't remember now. I read the application a while ago, but that sounds probably right. And then getting into the again, this is kind of all formulating a motion with the conditions and looking at Danny's current conditions here on their license. So going back then to entertainment offerings, as you heard, Jeff, there currently is a condition on Brano's license that says that the 18 plus license is limited to private parties.
Yep.
And there's no restriction on 21 plus entertainment. Is that something that you're comfortable with continuing as a license condition? Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. The other condition that we obviously talked about when I asked Brano to come forward relates to the not so attractive dumpsters on Broome Street. What are your thoughts on keeping that condition on the license and you and Brano working together with your waste company to see if there's another option?
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly open to it. As a point of reference, one of the properties that we own is 536 State Street, which is the Taco Bell Cantina building. So I've had to, over the years, I've had to be pretty creative with waste removal there because there's no direct access to the back of the building there. So I'm confident I can come up with a solution and work with neighbors and work with other area, people on the street as well as the waste, management companies to come up with a solution.
Appreciate that very much. I appreciate your creativity and with your experience on State Street, that'll probably help a lot. So then if you're comfortable keeping that condition, we can keep that condition then as well. The last condition that Brano referenced, but I think, or maybe he didn't reference it as a condition, but maybe just as a general rule, and your geographic area is the issue of timing of when patrons can enter and re-enter, not so much based on the legal drinking age, but just generally. So one of the other condition on the current license is one that all of the neighbors there have that have alcohol licenses, and that's that no patrons are permitted to enter or re-enter the establishment after 10:30 p.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. I presume that you don't have an objection to that either. I just wanted you to be aware of that and make sure you.
I'm fine with that. I don't know that I'm understanding.
He's missing. Alder Verveer, I think you're talking about the 1:30. You said 10:30 just now. You're talking about the 1:30 on Friday and Saturday nights that everyone downtown has agreed to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I said 1:30. I certainly meant 1:30, which is the condition on your license.
Yes, it's one that we share with all the neighbors. So I just wanted to clear that. Jeff was getting very scared there when he heard 10:30.
I was scared, confused, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We had a very long night at the city council meeting last night. I'm sorry if I misspoke.
No sweat. And I obviously have no issue at all with that condition.
Okay. So then you have no issues, Jeff, with continuing the three conditions that are currently on Danny's license? Correct. Yep.
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. That's great. Well, let me just also say while you're at the podium there that I do hope that you take advantage of Captain Hartman's invitation to work with his officers that are on the Central District Community Policing team. I know Brano knows them well, and so with him there as your consultant moving forward, that'll be a seamless transition as well. But especially for all of your new employees that are coming on board, I know that the CPT, as they're called, especially the two bar liaisons that we have downtown, that they very much like the opportunity to train all of the new staff, and they'll come to your business, to Moon Bar, and do the training for the new employees and Brano's returning employees. I don't know. Did Captain Hartman get into specifics with you when you all talked on the phone?
No,
about the training.
He gave me an overview of some of the different areas of training and said, once I get through all of this, and we get a staff to reach out and we can get those things scheduled. So I can say, as someone coming into this, again, having kids down there that were underage at one point and one still is. I mean, I know there's a lot going on, a lot of people trying to get in, so I will take as much help as possible.
Yeah, it's not just the enforcing the drinking age and carding
right
individuals. It goes beyond that in terms of the training. But yeah.
Yep. And he had shared that, so I that's a big plus and a big asset for me coming into this.
Great. Lastly, out of curiosity, do either of your kids have an interest in working at the Moon Bar?
Both of my kids and almost all of their friends, yes. So my son has been a bouncer at Mondays for the last 2 years. So he's looking forward to moving over and jumping in on the family business and helping out. So,
and he has a lot of experience.
Yep.
He might be a member of the DU fraternity because a lot of them work there.
Not that one, but a different one. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, good luck, Jeff.
Thank you, Alderman. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chair. Thanks for your indulgence going back and forth between registrants.
Thank you. Is there any further questions from committee members? I guess I just have one easy one, I hope.
Yeah.
After the 18 plus shows, how will everyone at that show have to leave and then re-enter if they're 21 or over? Or how do you know?
So my understanding of how that has been handled and is handled at similar venues is you give something to the 21-year-olds, 21 and up, that obviously identifies them. So let's call it a bracelet, a neon bracelet. You put an X on the 18 and up, under 21 hands, so that you can visibly identify who's who. Then at that point, at the end of the show, we have security walk through and we kindly escort anyone not wearing a bracelet out. I would be open to, and Brown, I don't know if you have thoughts on this, but if If it was, you basically everybody had to leave, let's say it was on the second floor, everyone had to leave, re-enter the bar, I'd be fine with that.
Okay, well,
It's actually a good idea. I hadn't thought of that, but
thank you for that answer. Are there any further questions from committee members? If there are none, then I'd entertain a motion.
I move approval with the conditions that Alder Bevere has listed.
Okay, motion by Ms. Carter, and then Alder Verveer, is that a second? Is he frozen? Alder Verveer? Are you with us?
Let me turn off the video if that helps
Yes.
connectivity here at my home. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to second a motion to grant both licenses. I did want to, though, confirm with the deputy city clerk that my recollection of the conditions was correct. If Jim could please just confirm that and recite the existing conditions for us for the motion.
Sure. So the conditions on the alcohol license are, number one, the capacity is 314 persons. Number two, no refuse or recycling is to be stored on public property. And number three, no patrons are permitted to enter or re-enter the establishment after 1:30 a.m. on Friday and Saturday nights. And then with the 18-plus license, there's those three conditions we said, but then there's also the condition, the 18-plus license is limited to private parties. There is no such limitation on 21-plus.
Thank you very much, Jim. My thought is that to be consistent, I don't think we need a separate condition on as it relates to the capacity.
Okay.
But the motion would be for 314 persons indoors. So why don't we just have the three conditions then on both licenses as beyond the capacity? If that's agreeable with the maker of the motion, Ms. Carter.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So the motion is to grant both, carrying over the same conditions as just read, except we will take off the separate condition for the capacity. Is there any other, does everyone understand the motion, or does anyone need it read again? Is there any discussion of the motion? And recall, this is both the 18-plus license and the new license. Any discussion? Seeing none, is there a objection to granting both? I see none, so therefore the motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're done.
Appreciate all your time.
Ms. Carter.
I move a 10-minute break.
Is there any objection? Seeing none, you need a motion and a second for that? For a recess? Ms. Farley? Okay, seconded by Ms. Farley. Any objection? Seeing none, we will return at 7:45. All right. 7:45 having arrived. The LRC is called back to order. Mr. Verbeek, can you call the roll?
Sure. Alder Glenn,
Here.
Alder Glenn is here. Alder Revere,
Here.
Alder Revere is here. Mr. Brusick,
Here.
Mr. Brusick is here. Ms. Farley,
Present.
Ms. Farley is here. Ms. Westra,
Here.
Ms. Westra is here. Alder Figueroa Cole,
Here.
Alder Figueroa Cole is here. Ms. Carter, don't see Ms. Carter back yet, but we do have quorum.
I think she's back. Or at least her name is there. We can move on. Let's move to item 25, Red Lobster. Do we have a registrant for that one? Come on up.
The registrant is Karen Marquez, and in support, available to answer questions.
All right. Can you just discuss your business and your request for a new license?
Hi, yes, my name is Karen Marquis, and actually I'm a representative in the capacity that I'm the general manager of the Madison location, and I'm also the liquor agent. I really haven't been to one of these meetings before, so I'm really not for sure what you need to know, but I can just go on the assumption that it is Red Lobster is an established restaurant in the Madison location there, and that it was a change of ownership, and that is the reason why we had to apply for a new one.
All right. Thank you. Questions from committee members?
I'll just add that this was one that was not renewed in time, and the city has allowed Red Lobster to have a provisional license to operate since the previous one expired at the end of June, and so they're operating under that currently while this application is going forward.
All right. Thanks for the clarification. And then is there anything, major changes coming to the business? And I think most of us are familiar with it, but
No, not at the
Okay.
time. It's just run as your normal family restaurant. As you can see, our alcohol sales aren't that intense, so
Right.
it's nothing's going to be changing.
all right. Are there questions from other committee members? Are there any other registrants?
There are not.
Move to approve.
That was a motion by Alder Glenn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Western to approve. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, any objection to approval? Seeing none, that's approved. Thank you for being here today.
All right. Thank you for your time. Have a
good
good
one.
evening.
Next on the agenda, item 26, Home 2 Suites and True by Hilton Madison. Do we have a registrant?
We have one registrant, Amanda Bublitz, is in support, available to answer questions. And I believe in Zoom. Yep.
All right, Amanda. Explain to the committee your request tonight.
Well, we are opening the Home 2 Suites and True, as in 2 new hotels on the east side of Madison. So we are here just requesting liquor licensing for to be able to sell beer and wine in our market area.
In your market area, so that's and these are new hotels, you said?
These are new hotels. Yep. And our market areas, I mean, there'll be beer and wine, but then there's also snacks and sodas, things like that also.
Okay. How long do you serve the beer and wine until?
Till 2 a.m.
Okay. Are there any questions from members of the committee? Attorney McReynolds.
Thank you, Chair. The application currently says 24 hours, and I'm assuming that that means, the time that maybe the snacks are available or the time of the whole operation of the hotel. So could we change or amend your application to be when you'll actually sell? So I know you just said 2 a.m. What time will you start selling alcohol?
Probably 10 a.m.
Okay. Can we change that on the application?
Yes.
Yes,
All right.
that's, Mr. Verbeek is changing that right now. Further questions
Thank
from the
you.
committee? I'm seeing no further questions. Questions for staff? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. I think this is a question perhaps for the Deputy City Clerk. The previous application that's very similar that we heard several minutes ago now was for a Class B beer, Class C wine license. This one is a Class B combination license. With the change in the Class C law, are you and your colleagues in the city clerk's office now advising that similarly situated lodging operations with the kind of front desk store would be eligible for Class B beer and Class C wine, or is there a reason why this one's a combination that you know of, Jim?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't think we advise them one way or the other, but to my knowledge, I don't see why they would not be eligible for a Class C wine license if they wanted it.
Thank you. So perhaps to this applicant, you go to you. Do you know what we're referring to here?
I do not know.
Okay. So do I understand correctly that you're only interested in the sale of beer and wine?
That is correct.
Yeah. So you've applied for a full liquor license, which is what, until the state law changed a year ago or so, was probably the only option you had for your current business model. But now you could actually save some money. Not that the city doesn't appreciate you paying us additional license fees, but you could save some money by not having a full liquor license and instead only applying for a beer and wine only license. I don't know if that's something that you can decide to do tonight on the spot, or others have to be consulted on that, but it's just something I thought I would mention.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I will definitely need to consult with others on that decision.
That's what I probably figured. Okay, thanks very much.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, we've allowed people to drop down from a Class B combination to a Class B beer, C wine, or just a Class B beer up to the point in which they pay for the license to be issued. You can go down a license. You can't go up from a Class B beer to a Class B combination license.
Okay.
So just to clarify, going from a Class B combination liquor and beer to a Class B beer, Class C wine would be permitted?
Correct.
By you? Okay, supposing we approve this.
Yeah, I think the only reason that they would need a combo is if they're selling hard liquor or if they're selling wine to go, like a full bottle or something like that. But otherwise, if the consumption is purely on premise and it's beer and wine only, then a B beer, C wine would be fine.
All right. Are there any further questions from the committee or a motion?
I move to grant.
Alder Verveer
Second.
moves to grant,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Carter. Any objection, or is there any discussion? Seeing none, is there any objection? Seeing none, the motion carries. We are on item number 27, Madison Children's Museum. And item number 28, the entertainment license for Madison Children's Museum. We'll take those up together. Do we have a registrant?
We do. We have two registrants in support. Susan Ramsbacher, who is a listed agent in support, wishing to speak, and Kia Carlen, who is in support, available to answer questions. And then we have one person in opposition wishing to speak, and that's Nancy Siski.
Okay, we'll start with Susan. Susan, can you tell us about your business? You can talk about the license and the 21 plus entertainment license.
Thank you so much, committee. And actually, thank you to Alder Verveer for his encouragement for the museum to take on this license. There has been a liquor licensed here at the museum since 2016. We've been hosting events for adults, trying to, kind of encourage that ability for our great museum to be valued not only by children and families, but also by our adults here in the community. So when we first, when the license was first acquired in 2016, the Roman Candle was the liquor purveyor, and they worked with us for both the liquor license and our cafe. And then that was transferred to Chef Dave Madison in 2022. And he's been, that company has been running the liquor license since then. And in the process of those years, we here at the museum have been able to really build up our internal food and beverage team. So we felt like this was a good opportunity for us to bring our liquor services in-house and to be able to increase our direct revenue and really manage the offerings that come through the liquor license. We do host some events that are museum sponsored, like our Adult Swim, which is a 21 plus event. We also host a Live from the Wonderground event, which is in our outdoor space. That is a family event, and we're serving liquor at that event, obviously only to the adults who are carded and are there to enjoy themselves with their families. We also have a facility rental program where, as I said earlier, we're trying to welcome adults into our spaces. We have weddings, we have corporate events, really trying to maximize this tremendous space that we have and be, a viable place to enjoy yourselves and find some joy. Right now we could all, as adults, use a little joy. And so we'd like to open that up for more adults. At the height of our facility rental back in 2019, we had about 70 events. Our goal in these upcoming years would be like 20 to 30 events. So we've really scaled back the number of facility rentals and really in many ways just added more family events to our evenings. We always make sure that we have private security on site when we're serving alcohol. And we always make sure we have food as well available, either obviously at a facility rental, a wedding, they're providing food, but in our own events, we're getting in food trucks or we're bringing in a vendor to come into the building to provide food. That's what I've got.
Thank you, Susan. Any questions from committee members? Alder Verveer.
Thank you, Chair. Susan. You probably heard and were a little surprised to hear that there is a registrant in opposition to your licenses tonight. And I did speak to that registrant yesterday, or actually we played telephone tag. But I think it would be helpful if you could address her concern now. And obviously I'll let the registrant speak for herself momentarily, but she's one of your residential neighbors across the street and is concerned about the entertainment license application. And how things might change as it relates to amplified music on the rooftop. So could you please, Susan, address what the current kind of policy is for amplification for your special events on the rooftop, like weddings and so forth, and if anything will change if the license is brought in-house?
Absolutely. I'm sorry that I didn't speak to that when I first spoke.
I'm sorry if it's not clear. We take up both the alcohol and entertainment licenses together to try to make it easier. I'm sorry if that wasn't clear.
Thank you.
So if you could, so speak to anything you'd like about the entertainment license besides answering the question.
Absolutely. We do not intend to change anything at all. We are well aware of the decibel levels that we need to stay within in both the rooftop and the Wonderground, and the time of evening that we need to cut that sound off. And so we are often, doing that in conjunction with when we're, we would be connecting the change of any kind of bar service and the change of music time to make sure that that's ending at the same and people are moving, not only that the music is going off, but we're moving off the rooftop. I think the Wonderground, which is, on the ground floor and has a space that has a covered area, we wouldn't necessarily be moving the guests from that space, but we could be, we'd be ensuring that any kind of sound that's beyond music, people just in their chatter, we were paying attention to that and making sure it's not disturbing the neighbors. So by bringing this in-house, if anything, I feel like we have that many more staff members here who are paying attention to being a good neighbor and making sure we're not exceeding any of the limits that are placed. We know that because we do bring in entertainment to our events, and that weddings and corporate organ groups would be using music, we felt like we needed to make sure that we were applying for that 21 plus entertainment license too.
Thanks very much, Susan.
Further questions for Susan? Kia, do you have something to add?
I raised my hand before Susan started, and she covered most of it. I just wanted to add, I oversee the public events that we do for adults, and just wanted to add for the neighbor that our Adult Swim series prior to COVID ended at 10 p.m. It now ends at 9 p.m. And then our Live from the Wonderground series, the live music, ends at 7:30 p.m. And I would say since COVID, we've also worked to put the city's decibel limits into more of our contract language with DJs or sound engineers, live bands, things like that, because we do indeed want to be good neighbors.
Thank you, Kia. If I can just jump in, I appreciate that. Yeah, I've never had any complaints from any of my constituents that reside across the street from the museum, and I have every expectation that will continue. But I do look forward to the testimony momentarily of Nancy, and when we can hear from her directly and ensure that all of her questions and concerns have been addressed. So thank you, Kia and Susan, for your initial responses.
All right, thank you. Are there any further questions for the Children's Museum representatives? Seeing none, we will hear from Nancy Chesky. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Nancy, can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, by the way, for pronouncing my name correctly. It is Chesky, and it's rare that people get it correct, so I appreciate that. My spouse and I live at Capitol Point at 125 on the 10th, North Hamilton on the 10th floor. We moved here in the fall of 2021. And since we've gotten here, the Wonderground has been built. It was pretty bare space when we first got here. And we've watched with kind of great joy at the development of that space and watching the children play there. Clearly, that's a great use of that space by the Children's Museum. Kids love to, they're curious about what they're doing there. And we applaud the Children's Museum creativity and tenacity in getting that space developed. As has been noted, our one type of challenge that we have with museum activity is the outdoor amplified music. Hamilton and Dayton streets, while they are, large traffic corridors, they're also home to numerous apartments and condos and people's residences, people's homes. When the museum hosts amplified events outdoors, their speakers face outward onto Hamilton and onto Dayton. And these are primarily the events that are happening in the Wonderground. Honestly, I'm not sure I've ever witnessed anything that's really been happening on the rooftop since we've moved here. But it's primarily the events in the Wonderground where there are live bands and things, and the speakers face out towards Hamilton and towards Dayton. And when there are amplified events outdoors, it creates very loud and really inescapable noise. From my 10th floor balcony, I've been able to measure sound at 80 to 85 decibels, and that's only on the 10th floor. I can't imagine what the sound level must be at the site where the adults and children are actually sitting and listening and kind of being bombarded with higher levels, higher noise levels. And while these events generally last only 3 to 4 hours, that's 3 to 4 hours where we cannot use our balconies. We cannot use common outdoor spaces in our buildings. And the same is true for any of our neighbors in apartments or other houses. And even with closed windows, the noise level is loud. It intrudes on our conversations. It simply takes over the rooms that we're in, and we can't even enjoy our own music. Because the events that have been hosted have been limited in frequency and length, we have tried to be good neighbors and not complain. Based on what Alderman Verveer said, I guess if I have an issue in the future, I will complain. However, this application has also awakened in us the concern that the frequency and duration of these events may also increase. It doesn't sound like that based on what's being said tonight, but I don't know that we have any guarantee for that for the future. And if that's the case, it will be even more challenging to enjoy social time in our own homes and be able to entertain people here. And that will be the same thing for people who live in the apartments and the houses in the vicinity. We have no personal objections to allowing alcohol on the premises. That's not an issue for us. Our concern is with the noise level of amplified music at the outdoor events. When we moved to Hamilton Street, we did not anticipate living across the street from an outdoor performance venue with amplified music. We thought we were living next to a children's museum. So I appreciate the time and I appreciate your listening. That's all.
Thank you, Nancy. Are there questions for the registrant from members of the committee? Alder Verveer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you very much, Nancy, for joining us this evening and for your testimony. Especially appreciate your patience as our meeting has run several hours now. Can I just ask you specifically, based on the representations and what you heard from the museum staff tonight, do you have further concerns then beyond what their plans are that they shared with you? And if so, suggestions you have besides alerting them next time the music is too much of a disturbance for you and your neighbors?
Well, I mean, there's really not much assurance that, I mean, the question is, the events will go on. It sounds like that anyway. I mean, that seems to be part of, if they get this license, then those events will continue. And those events at this very moment are disturbing. I mean, our challenges for us, you know, the Adult Swim things, the first Friday events, the Live at the Wonderground things. Those are already the things that are causing issues for us. And I have concern that we know already that they're really loud, that all of the restrictions that we have on being able to use any outdoor space and even indoor space. I mean, we have made provisions on occasion to simply just be away from our condo when that's happening, because we know that it will not, we'll hear nothing but the noise from the Wonderground. That all we're going to hear is the cover band that's playing the Rolling Stones song or the country music or whatever it is that's coming from there. And that's all that we're going to be able to be attending to, because that's still going to come through even with closed windows. So if they, you know, if those events are going to go on, that's going to be an issue. And I don't know that we have any guarantees that the number and the length of them won't increase in the future.
Yes, thank you. Again, I'm sorry that I perhaps misunderstood that you were not satisfied at all by any of the representations that were shared by the museum staff. As I said, in all the years I've had the privilege of representing this part of the downtown, I've never had anyone express concerns to me about noise coming from the museum. So this is a new one for me, a new issue for me, and I certainly would have addressed it with the museum staff when we met to discuss their application some time ago. I do appreciate you calling me, or actually emailing me and exchanging our telephone messages in the last day here. Chair, if I could I recall the applicants then to please respond to Nancy's specific concerns and help us out? And yeah, please go ahead, Nancy. Thank you.
I just wanted to point out one more thing, and it kind of underscores something I said earlier, which is, you know, there is the Wonderground, which is again at the corner of Dayton and Hamilton. And really, if you look down Hamilton and then you look around the corner onto Dayton and then all the way up Dayton, those are all residences there. That it's not literally just, you know, my condo or the building that I'm in. Those are literally all residences all the way around there. And so and a lot of those are rental units, and those are people probably moving in there who have no idea that this is going to be an issue for them. And all of a sudden they'll be, you know, on their balconies or whatever. And when they come back in August and all of a sudden find themselves, you know, having to deal with this issue. And so the idea that we have this performance venue, I mean, if I bought a house or rented an apartment just next to Bree Stevens Field, for example, I wouldn't be surprised if there was music coming from there. I've never been quite clear why amplified music has to happen, especially at that level, really where it's surrounded by residences.
Yes, I appreciate that very much. And you're absolutely correct. It is a residential neighborhood in large part. Certainly on two sides it is of where the museum is. And as I said, I really appreciate the fact that you brought this to our attention, because it's the first I've heard these concerns. I've heard concerns about other noise from the neighborhood, for example, Farmers Market Saturday karaoke playing in front of the museum, which is not affiliated with the museum. I've had complaints about that performer that I've tried to address this year. But again, I have a good relationship with the museum, and if I had known that this had been such a disturbance to you or other neighbors, I would have tried to address this for you sooner, be it individuals or the condo association at Capitol Point. So if I chair, could I recall, please, our two representatives of the museum?
Yes.
And ask them to address in more specificity Nancy's concerns?
Yes, you may.
Especially as it relates to hours. Comments on the Wonderground.
Yes, and Kia has her hand up.
Yes, hi, yes.
Kia, sorry. Are you?
Looks like she muted herself.
Kia, you unmute yourself?
Yep, sorry, it went back and forth there.
Go ahead.
Yep, I absolutely want to address Nancy's concerns, and I'm sorry that you've been bothered by the Live from the Wonderground events. For the committee's context, this happens 5 times a year if the weather permits. When the weather doesn't permit, it's 3 or 4 times a year because we move indoors. The live music runs from 5:30 to 7:30 with a break. We do decibel testing to make sure it's in the safe range for kids within the Wonderground space. And I've done some testing from the sidewalk in front of Capitol Point. I don't have access to the upper balconies, so that's not something we've checked. And I'm perfectly happy to have us bring those level settings down below what's permitted by city ordinance. Happy to do that. The Adult Swim series, I can't think of one where we've had live amplified music outdoors, certainly since COVID reopening. So I think this is probably, the issue is probably limited to these 5 Live from the Wonderground happy hour events. My anecdotal evidence, which granted is not data, is that I see a lot of Capitol Point residents actually bring chairs out to their balcony and sit and enjoy the music from their balcony. So just from a visual sort of, temperature taking, it has seemed like a positive for many people. This is the first complaint I've heard from anyone in the neighborhood. So just like Alder Verveer, of course, now that we know it's an issue, we're happy to work with it. Oh, and by side note, right now we don't have any plan to expand the number of Live from the Wonderground events that we have or Adult Swims. I don't foresee those increasing in number at any point.
Thank you, Kia. And are there many private rentals, either in the Wonderground space or on the rooftop that have amplified music?
In my experience, more often there are DJs and they're more often set up indoors. We've had very few facility rentals the past few years. We're just sort of bringing that program back. But as Susan mentioned, our goal is to drop from our 2019 peak of about 70 events per year to more like 20 to 30. And really the only ones that utilize the indoor space have to be happening during optimal weather. So that's a kind of a smaller percentage as well.
Did you mean outdoor space needs
The outdoor
optimal weather?
space.
Okay.
Yes. A lot of these events happen in the winter and early spring, and we don't count on doing, the outdoor spaces being hospitable.
Further questions?
But private rental parties are able to have amplified sound in your outdoor spaces that they rent, correct?
Yeah, we don't have any prohibition. We do state all of the hour limitations and the decibel limitations.
Mm-hmm. Is that something that you can assure the committee you will reemphasize? I don't know if this is more appropriate for Susan if she handles that program as the director of
She handles the program, but I've been at
services.
the museum longer, so I think either one of us can. But
Yes,
we absolutely can.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, I know you've been there a very long time. So you both can give us your assurances that you will that you are taking this concern seriously, and I would be happy to put you in touch with Nancy and any other neighbors to see if you could have a direct line of communication, including perhaps volunteering to if Nancy or other neighbors are interested in having be on their units and experiencing the noise concerns that they have, be they taking decibel readings or otherwise.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll add, and I know Nancy knows this, we can't control the sound level of the Wonderground full of children, and hopefully that's been a joyful component of the noise of the urban neighborhood.
Yeah, I only heard concerns about amplified music. Yeah. So
And the
thank you. I
karaoke,
will,
we field a lot of complaints about karaoke also, but that is a public stage and not affiliated with the museum.
yes, and I've tried to address that through city licensing. I don't know if it's made a difference or not, but city staff, by the way, for your benefit at the museum and Nancy's benefit, I don't know if things have improved this summer much or not, but there have been conversations with that performer that does have a permit to perform there during farmers markets or most Saturdays. But anyway, so, well, thank you, everyone. If I could, Chair, just to give Nancy the opportunity to be recalled one last time, if I could ask Nancy a quick question. Thank you. Nancy, would you be interested in a direct conversation with the museum staff and perhaps having them experience the levels that you and your family are experiencing during one of the events from your actual unit?
I think that would be fine. I actually am, this last round of conversation gave me a little bit more, a better perspective on what the museum's goals are, that they're really not looking to expand underground events, which I think is actually quite encouraging to hear. But yes, I mean, I would be perfectly happy to be involved with that. And just to clarify another point, we love the sound of the kids. I think I said that in my opening statement. We love to listen to the kids and to watch them play. That part is what we expected from the Children's Museum. It's the amplified music, as Mike has also mentioned. That's what we have the issues with. So that's, then I have another question. What are the decibel levels that you're getting at the Wonderground, and what are the city's limits?
I can't rattle them off the top of my head. We have a high quality professional level decibel reader, and to the case of that reader, I have attached all of the levels and the recommendations. Well, there's city limits, then there's what's safe for children and infants, and there are a lot of ranges. It's over time, so there's, with decibel, any kind of noise damage to hearing, it's both about how the loudness and how long you're exposed to it. So we make sure we're well within the safety ranges for kids to be exposed for music to 2 hours, for instance, in the case of Live from the Wonderground. If it's a jackhammer going off for 8 hours, that is there's a much different, level of damage, because it's the length of time plus the loudness plus the age range. So we probably have about 8 to 10 different levels marked that we are looking at when we're measuring.
But you don't have any of that information with you?
No, I'm zooming from home right now. So I'd be happy to send it to you, because we have it at the museum.
Yeah,
okay,
I think
that would be great. That would be good.
Let's.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes.
Please, Chair, and I appreciate everyone's indulgence, both you and the committee members, because I realize this is somewhat unorthodox, going back and forth. But just one last question for me, Nancy, and then I think we'll be able to move on to a motion for the committee to consider. But just so I understand, how many times a year would you say you and your family are concerned with the amplified noise levels, Nancy? Would you concur that it's the 5 or half dozen times a year for the actual museum sponsored series in the Wonderground, or is it more than that?
I don't know. It's whenever we hear the amplified music from there. I have no count. It's sometimes, as I said, if it gets too loud, we leave. Sometimes we're fortunate enough not to be here at all. And other times, so I can't give you a number. I don't track that kind of information.
No, I understand. I was looking for specificity. I was just curious if it indeed was these Live from the Wonderground events that the applicants believe is what's causing the disturbance or if it's something beyond that. But again, we can take the communication amongst ourselves offline and not have the committee talk about the specifics anymore. But I will bring all of us together through email so that we have each other's contact information. So thank you very much. Thank you, Nancy, for again being with us and your patience the last several hours waiting to speak, and thanks to the museum staff as well.
Well, I appreciate the responses, and I appreciate all of your time and all of your listening. I do appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you
again.
Thank you, Alder Revere, and
Chair,
everyone.
I'll yield back and prepare to make a motion unless there are other questions.
Are there further questions for Nancy from members of the committee? Seeing none, then a motion would be in order now.
I move to grant agenda items 27 and 28.
A motion by Alder Revere to grant, seconded by Alder Figueroa Cole. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Is there any objection to the motion? Seeing none, the motion carries. Thank you, everyone. That concludes our applications for the night. Next on the agenda is report of the Madison Police Department. Detective Lieutenant Radke, do you have any thing to report?
Nothing other than the submitted report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Report of the City Clerk's Office, Mr. Verbeek.
The only thing, I just had the report, and I believe the only thing else I had to report is I think we are down to only one regular Class B combination license. Looking up real quick while I'm here. Maybe we have two. But yeah, we're moving through them pretty quick. A lot of people were waiting for them when they became available on July 1st. And now we only have a handful left. Other than that, I am open for anything the committee has.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
I have a question about the police report, the service calls. I think we just passed that one real quick.
Oh, you can ask that question to the.
Thank you. So I have the data for the service calls for the same report that you send us weekly. I had the data for a year to now, so from June 1st to date to whatever you send us this week. And based on that data, the highest service calls numbers are attached mostly to places like Woodman's or Target or Walmart, like those big grocery stores. They had the highest numbers of calls. So I was wondering, is there a way to confirm if those are self-reported service calls, like the ones that they go online to report, or are those actual police calls that they go into the store? Because it wasn't my understanding, like for Woodman's West, for example, that they do a lot of self-reporting, and they are not as high. Their numbers are pretty low compared to everyone else in the city. So I trying to understand what the discrepancy is on that one.
Understood. I don't have that off the top of my head. I can find out and get that to you. If those calls for service include case numbers, the self-reports generally start with 900. So it's like 903, 355 or whatever. Those are generally the self-reports that are issued online. But otherwise I can have that broken down for you, get that to you.
So the case numbers don't start with the 2000 with the date?
Yes, I'm sorry. They all start with 2025 dash and then the six numbers. So yeah, when the six numbers start with 90 something, those are generally the self-reports.
Okay, yeah, I don't see. Okay, I'll take a look at that. I mean, I had the data, so I can definitely try to identify them that way. Yeah, so I mean, I today, for example, I look at all the addresses that were on this agenda, and I tried to see if there was any service calls for those addresses. So it was pretty, it was useful for me from the perspective, to have the data compare on a year range, not just for the month. So I'm really looking forward. I'm working with staff to see if we can provide a better tool for us to align with the agendas as we move forward. But I will take that tip and see if that answers my questions. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Westra. We can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Mute gets you every time. So one question I'm going to have for the lieutenant and maybe Jim, how did we handle the Morgan Wallace concerts at Camp Randall and the upcoming Coldplay concert this weekend and how did those go? You know, did downtown turn into, were there lots of problems downtown with those? Because it is outside of what we're used to for a football game and all of that type of stuff.
I can answer half of that for you. I don't know off the top of my head what the results were downtown. I haven't heard anything ridiculous compared to other weekends. However, I do know that that was a UW event. So as far as staffing, they requested a lot of officers. I know our mounted team was down there. Our tactical teams were down there, and a lot of people on a mutual aid request through UW to staff that. I don't have the exact numbers, however.
Okay. So let me pivot and ask Jim, I don't remember if any of those beer gardens have special licenses that have certain number of events or just for games or any of that. So I was just wondering if there was, if it was like a football Saturday down on campus, on Regent and the Monroe Street area and things like that. And if that might be something, if the UW is going to start having more concerts, we might need to look at for those outside permitting beer gardens and things like that for the sanity of everyone in the area.
Yeah, I wasn't there, so I'm not quite sure. I do know, I feel like we had some picnic beer permits that were on private property, so they didn't come to the ALRC. But they talked about both Badger football as well as UW events, and I think they very specifically mentioned the concerts to do like brat sales and beer sales with that. I'd have to look at what some of like the Regent Street and like the Hong Kong Cafe licenses say, whether that's specifically football or if that is football and UW events. I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up.
Okay. And one last question for Jim. How did you sent the report out about the expired licenses. Thank you very much. Where are we at? How many of those got cleared? And if you could send the current report, that would be great.
Sure. I'd have to look that up. I think technically there's 10 on the list, but I feel like one of those is like the Bel Air Cantina, which is empty now, just down the street from us right now. And there's, I want to say 3 or 4 that are I believe out of business. They have not paid for the license at all. There's probably another 3 that they have late fees that they still have to pay because their initial payment came after the late fees were applied, but maybe before they got the second notice license, second notice invoice. I have not heard much back from MPD on any sort of follow-up. I know there was someone in touch with the South District ones, and I can't recall the name of it. I think it's Los Gelmos. Has paid for the license, but they have a hold on there from a wholesaler, and I think they were in process of working satisfying their outstanding debt, Los Remedios, and they were looking to satisfy their outstanding debt. They were having issues utilizing, I think, like the online payment system that they had to sort of satisfy that. But other than that, I've not had much feedback from MPD as far as how those individual visits have gone, other than the one in the South District.
Okay. Thank you. And Jim, I appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy.
Alder Figueroa Cole.
Thank you. Hey, Jim, one more question. Once we approve new licenses and when licenses are dropped, like the discussions you were having now, is that communicated to, is there a report or a notification sent to MPD for them to update the service calls report?
To let them know that a license is issued?
Yeah.
I know there's an automated email that goes out when the workflow is moved, and I believe it goes to alders. I think it also goes to the MPD district captain as well. I think that goes out when it hits the workflow task for me putting it into Legistar to get onto the agendas. And then I think it also gets sent out when the license is issued as well.
Yeah, so the person that ran the report that is served to us moved to another department. So I just want to make sure that the new person that is owning that task knows, gets the information, because adding the new entities or removing them is a manual process.
Okay.
So I don't know who that might be, but if you want to check the workflow and make sure that it's not assigned to a person, but perhaps a group, that would be great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Further questions? Seeing none? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjournment.
Second.
Moved by Westra, seconded by Figueroa Cole. Seeing no objection, we are adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.